We're all familiar with the concept of a fish story. We've all heard them. We're all probably guilty of making them. We embellish stories for many reasons. Maybe it's to make them more entertaining. Maybe it's to be persuasive in making a point. Whatever our purpose, the point of a fish story is its unverifiability. It's a tall tale supported only by hearsay. You only get to hear how big the fish was. You don't get to see actual evidence of the size of the fish. But what if we got the evidence first and the fish story second? All from the fisherman himself. What if I gave you a photo of my completely average catch and then told you a story about how it's the biggest of all time? Well, something like that happened this weekend when Sri Chauhan, a DC area education advocate, that title will become more alarming as this story progresses, decided to blur the line between investigative journalism and stalking by confronting White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer at the Georgetown Apple Store. First, she gave us her footage of the encounter on Twitter and Periscope. Then she gave us her description of the event on Medium. And one of these things is not like the other. I went to go check out the video she posted to Twitter of this encounter and... yeah, I'm already blocked. I've never met this person, we've never interacted, but clearly she's another honors graduate of the Steve Shives School of Social Media Management. Go ahead and check for yourself. There's a very good chance that A, you've never heard of her, and B, you're blocked anyway. So fine, Stevette, you win this round. I'll log out so I can look at the video. Here's her clip of what she describes as asking questions because Sean Spicer doesn't like the press.
Feel to work for a fascist? How does it feel? You have a great country. How do you have you helped with the Russia stuff? Are you a criminal as well? Have you committed treason too? Just like the president?
Thank you.
Have you committed treason too? What can you tell me about Russia?
Such a great country to allow you.
Yeah, what can you tell me about Russia, Mr. Secretary?
Thank you very
What can
much.
you tell me? You know you work for a fascist, right? You work for a fascist.
Oh, yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Police, right?
How do you feel about destroying our country, Sean? How do you feel about that? Do you feel good about the decisions you're making?
Thank you guys
About
very much.
lying to
Appreciate
the
it.
American
Thank you.
people? Do you feel good about lying to the American people? Do you feel...
To me, there's no truth-seeking or journalistic merit in what we just watched. These aren't honest questions asked of Sean in pursuit of information. They're simply accusations and attacks in the form of a question, like this is social justice warrior Jeopardy. The game in which who is literally Hitler is the answer to every clue on the board. Political opponents may celebrate this stunt. There's certainly a debate here about the extent to which we owe public officials privacy when they're simply out running errands or conducting their personal business. But I give Sean major credit for keeping his cool when faced with that level of hostility. And I think whatever your opinion of Spicer, it's hard to be critical of him in that situation. He kept his words to a minimum, he conducted his business, and he left. But here's where the fish story starts. You saw the evidence. Now listen to the description. Such a great country, such nasty bigotry. Sean Spicer delivers a racist threat to revoke my citizenship, to throw me out of the country. This according to the woman behind the video herself, publishing her thoughts to Medium, describing her efforts to get answers and discover truth. Yes, the woman who is to political interviews what John Hinckley Jr. is to courtship. Maybe that analogy was unfair. I mean, Hinckley shot the president, and this woman only tweets about things like that. Anyway, yes, the woman who ambushed Sean Spicer with a camera in his face and a flurry of unanswerable questions in a wholly inappropriate venue now claims to be the victim of racist threats. Because Sean Spicer said, quote, such a great country that allows you to be here, unquote. A brief string of words Sean muttered softly amid a barrage of nonsense being thrown in his face.
Have you committed treason too? What can you tell me about Russia?
Such a great country to allow you.
Yeah, what?
Now and I think most sane people interpret Sean's words to mean, what a great country. What a wonderful country that allows you to behave like a complete jackass without legal consequence. Is it awkwardly phrased? Perhaps, but why should we expect eloquent oration under such obnoxious circumstances? Honestly, anything more restrained than a Serena Force backhand in response, and I gotta say, congratulations on your gentlemanly patience. But our author says, unlike this administration, she does not believe in, quote, alternative facts. She would not accuse someone of this level of racism if in fact it was not. Well, based on the footage, this is going to be a tough sell, but let's hear her out. She begins by explaining her business at the Apple Store. The night of the election, my iPhone screen shattered. The joke I like to make is that there was glass shattering on November 8th, but not the kind we wanted. There's something symbolic about the shattered glass on my phone, and it serves as a constant reminder of what could have been and how abnormal our current circumstances are. I thought it was high time I get my screen fixed, and after booking an appointment, I looked up to see Sean Spicer. I Googled him to make sure my eyes were not deceiving me. Right away, I have many questions about the claims made here. If in fact your phone did shatter on election night, I'm guessing it was probably just you rage spiking it after you finished making your video blaming white people and claiming Trump is literally Hitler.
I'm just not sure how we move forward as a country. I don't know how I'm going to feel safe, or my family, or anybody that looks like me. I guess the question is for all you white folks, because this is on you. How do you protect us? He is the second coming of Hitler. He is. Hitler was democratically elected, and within 5 months he had consolidated power. Just know that.
In that context, I highly doubt your shattered phone screen is a poetic metaphor for the election results. I suspect it's a poetic metaphor for your mental health. To her description of spotting Sean Spicer at the Apple Store, I have a very hard time believing this whole incident was happenstance. This woman claims to be one of the people who blocked Education Secretary Betsy DeVos from entering a school last month. Her entire Twitter timeline is nothing but obsessive criticism of the administration. She claims to have needed to double check who Sean Spicer is, despite tweeting about him no less than 8 times in the 3 days prior to this event. The day after inauguration, she made 24 consecutive Sean Spicer tweets, each with a photo of the man, and still claims to have been unsure if it was him upon the encounter. I can't prove it, but in this context, I don't buy her meetup with Sean as simple coincidence. Oh, hey, it's Sean, right? Funny seeing you here. You know, I was just talking about you on Twitter dozens and dozens of times over the last 6 weeks. Yeah, you know, I've been really busy lately, just tracking down and disrupting some of your coworkers. Hey, small world, huh? She continues describing the encounter. I realized what an enormous opportunity it was to get answers without the protections normally given to Mr. Spicer. I was honestly quite nervous and wanted to come up with more cogent questions, but did not have time to do so. I once met then Portland Trailblazers forward LaMarcus Aldridge at a Subway in Lake Oswego, Oregon, but I didn't view that as an opportunity to try to dunk on an NBA All-Star. I just said, hey man, you're LaMarcus Aldridge. And he said, why yes I am. Now please, excuse me. Trying to get some sun chips. Dude couldn't handle my stifling defense, you know? The point is, this woman and I had the exact same opportunity. Not for heroism, but just for jackassian rudeness to a public figure simply trying to go about his business. I wasn't going to prove anything with LaMarcus Aldridge at a Subway, and she's not going to prove anything with Sean Spicer at an Apple Store. Our author then discusses the allegedly controversial comment offered from Spicer. Such a great country that allows you to be here. That is racism, and it is an implied threat. Think about the sheer audacity of Mr. Spicer to say that to my face with a smile, knowing that he is being recorded on video and the position of power he holds in our government. I am still stunned by the boldness of having my citizenship threatened on camera. It's one thing to have a Twitter egg say you do not belong in America. It's quite another to have the press secretary of the United States do so. The only audacity here is the audacity of poking a sleeping lion with a stick until it wakes up and yawns, and then you freak out about that aggressive response. Lady, it's a miracle you didn't get your head bitten off. I am still astounded, and while I am fearless, I wonder how this administration will use its power to silence ordinary people like me. Will they come after my family? Will they prevent me from traveling like they did with Khizr Khan? Will they make sure that I am constantly under surveillance by the NSA? Well, Like you, Khizr Khan just makes things up. His claim to have had his travel blocked is a total fabrication, as debunked by the Washington Post.
You are fake news.
Very fake news.
With regard to surveillance, I doubt any intelligence agencies need sophisticated spying methods to monitor your lunacy. You proudly broadcast it everywhere. How do you think I found it? If you want privacy, a good step one would be putting your phone down. I hope my resistance allows others to gain the courage to resist too. If folks are already resisting, I hope it will give them energy to resist harder. If folks have not resisted, I hope it inspires them to get involved. My actions are to uncover the systems of oppression as the boils that they are and use civic engagement to cure our nation of these diseases. The systems of oppression, the oppression of having people be mildly irritated with you when you behave like a complete jackass in a public setting. Patriarchy! You don't get to suggest any cures for social diseases. You are the social disease. You are a cancer cell on an intellectual tumor currently in the process of extraction. Medically, we would use a scalpel, but in this case, a helicopter will do just fine. But I want to close by returning to this fish story theme. Listen and believe has long been a value in social justice progressivism. Listen and believe our ideology. Do not question it. Listen and believe, especially when it comes to alleged victims. Do not ask for evidence. Value their experiences. That philosophy is too tall an order for me in the absence of evidence. But have we reached a point where we are expected to listen and believe despite the evidence? The evidence in this case is both clear and self-provided. Sean Spicer was harassed at a store and did everything he could to leave the situation as soon as his business was over. But we're supposed to listen and believe that Sean was the aggressor of harassment in this situation when the footage shows no such thing? This lady is fringe, sure, but progressivism to me has become an infinite game of intellectual limbo. How low can they go? The joke's on you. There is no bottom. Thanks as always for listening and for supporting this channel. Always appreciate that thoughtful discussion down below and especially over on Twitter. That is at ML Christiansen. You're always welcome to come hang out and chat in my live streams. Those are linked down in the description. Looking forward to it. Okay, bye.